Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again in this YouTube astrological segment. I'm going to be talking about transit Saturn Sextile or Trine Natal Uranus. Now, this transit could manifest in the career, hard work, the father, responsibilities, discipline, structure, being in harmony with your friendships, your goals, your aspirations. And I'm going to elaborate and expound on that. Now, the thing is, this is a time where you may be able to balance career-related matters, hard, laborious work, and your friendships at this point in time. If your natal Uranus is in Capricorn, say those friendships could be older people. They could be people that are, career-oriented. It could be ones that are in accounting or dentistry or information technology or some other Capricorn related field. It can also be a time where when you have this transit as well. It can be a time where the father is more in harmony, in agreement with your friendships, your acquaintances, the people that you associate with, the groups that you may be involved in. If your natal Uranus, say, is in Sagittarius, those groups may be connected with sports, religion, or philosophy, or publishing. It's also a time when you have this transit. It's about could be very positive for really planning matters pertaining to your goals and aspirations that you want to attain. It can be taking responsibility at this point in time for your future. If it's something where, let's say that you've procrastinated and hesitated for some time, what you want to do, later on, what are you going to do after the present? What is actually going on for that future? And it's a time where, since Saturn is connected, planning and premeditation, you have a better opportunity to have to plot things down, what you want to do, after the present. What is going to be happening for you later on, especially if you're in a life situation where you feel it's monotonous or you're not getting anywhere and you're stagnant, or just kind of stuck where you are at a certain point in your life. And it's a time where you can have an opportunity to be more progressive and future oriented and be able to focus and concentrate on your future at this time. And it's also a time where it can be very positive for working laboriously in some group or club or organization at this time. If the natal Uranus, say, is in Scorpio, that group, club, or organization may be associated with psychology or the occult, which includes astrology or something with forensics or investigation, anything that recycling. It could be something Scorpio related. And the thing about this too, when you have this transit, it's also a time where you have Saturn is connected with discipline, so it's really a time where you could be more disciplined, regarding matters that are connected with the goals and aspirations you're trying to attain. If you're working toward them, you could be very methodical in this process, and it's a good good opportunity to be able to do that now. And it's also a time where you can feel, more, seriousness, taking, society more seriously, being able to integrate with them. And could be, in career related matters. You might feel, at this time, if you're working, in some, place where you're dealing with a lot of people, this is the time where you'd more likely be able to embrace it at this time, more so than you ordinarily would, since Uranus is connected with society. And it's really a time as well, I would say, as far as anatomically speaking, what's connected with Uranus, Uranus is connected with the ankles, the calves, shins, nerves, and circulation. So it's a time when you have this transit to take more responsibility for these matters. If you do have any of those issues that I described that are anatomically connected with Uranus, It's a time where you could take them more seriously if you procrastinated or hesitated on any of these things and you've had some kind of problems with it, but you might have blown it off and said, well, it's not that significant. It's not, I'm just feeling a little twinge in my ankle. It could be a time where you're willing to take it more seriously and actually do something about it, because Saturn is about seriousness, it's about concentration, and this is a time where you have more of an ability to focus on those things, and I would say with little diversion or distractions as well at this time. And another thing, it could be a very positive time to also plan matters that are associated with freedom and independence. If you're in a situation where you're confined or you're kind of stuck, like at a place where you're under someone else's roof, as an example, or you're working at a place where you've been, subordinate worker, you're under someone's auspices basically for some time. This might be a time where you may be able to focus and concentrate more on extricating yourself from that situation. If you're requiring more freedom, in your career, or whether it be your home life, or could even be your relationships. Say if you have your natal Uranus in Libra and or the 7th house in your chart, this could be a time where you might be able to, you want to plan out or be able to take freedom-related matters, in those relationships more seriously than usual, and being the authority in these matters, not worrying so much about, well, what is this person going to say, or how are they going to react if I want to take some time out from people at this time. This is a time where people will have to understand those things, because you're willing to basically, Saturn is about authority, so you might pretty much be the authority in those matters, in matters that are associated with your freedom and independence at this time. And again, Uranus is connected with the future, so it is a very good time to plot out and plan for matters that are pertaining to your future, whether it could be higher education, career, or living situation, whatever it might be. And it's also a time where it could be very positive for just being able to work hard in matters that are connected with altruism and humanitarianism. It might be doing things selflessly, where you're not necessarily getting any reciprocation or any kickback from what you're doing. It's a time where you're maybe more willing to work hard in those matters, whether it's helping somebody that's less fortunate, or whatever it might be. It might be doing something for people that have limited funds and are not able to pay to compensate you for your efforts. And it's a time too, especially if you are an inventor, you're an innovator, where you could put more attention and be able to concentrate more on doing something innovative. And it could even be anything Uranus related. I mean, it could be some astrology, or computers, or electronics, or aviation, as well as some examples. Now, what makes this transit interesting as well is that you have the transit of Saturn, which is connected to things that are more orthodox and conventionality, making the harmonious aspect to Uranus, which is more about what's unusual, unorthodox, and unconventional. It could be a time where you might simply be able to concentrate and focus on doing things that might be, could be doing things in an unorthodox manner, whether you're trying to fix a virus on the computer, or simply putting a coil spring, in your car, using a hammer or a screwdriver, as opposed to using the coil spring compressor. I don't even know if those things are around now, but anyway, just as some examples. And it's also a time to be able to just be able to be calm in dealing with something unexpected, something surprising or spontaneous. Be able to focus on those matters, being disciplined in those kind of situations if they do arise at this point in time. Now, another way this transit can manifest, it could be about taking responsibility, which is Saturn, to your friendships, which is Uranus. Hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that, I'm back. But anyway, now let's take Saturn in Pisces as an example. It could be, those responsibilities to friends may include a friend that's dealing with addiction or something with flooding, or even boats as some example, whether it could be working, on repairing a boat, or it could be working on docks as some examples. Uh, Another thing too, another way this transit may be expressed, it could be the father, which is Saturn, could be more in harmony and agreement with the clubs that you may be in if you're involved in any, which is Uranus. Let's say, for example, if the natal Uranus is in Capricorn, it could be a business or political club, or one associated with the government or information technology as some examples. It could also be a very auspicious time for planned and premeditated, which is Saturn, goals and aspirations, which is Uranus. Let's say, for example, if the natal Uranus is in Aquarius, it could be those aspirations and goals can include computers, astrology, astronomy, innovation, meteorology as some examples. Now, another thing too, it could also be a propitious time for laborious work, which is Saturn, in organizations, which is Uranus. Now, if the natal Uranus is in Sagittarius, it could be organization connected with printing press operation, publishing. It could be importing, exporting, or something associated with sports. Another thing too is that this could also be very positive for concentration, which is Saturn, on your future, which is Uranus. Let's say, for example, if the natal Uranus is in Scorpio, it could be a future in psychology or forensics, investigation, something with recycling or insurance, or working as a tax examiner as some examples. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.